Good morning, grade 7. Today, we're going to explore something that you see every day using our visual elements. So, this includes pictures, diagrams, charts, and even animations. So, you might not realize it, but authors use visual on purpose to help us understand information faster and better. So by the end of today's lesson, we or you will know how visuals guide our thinking, support explanations, and make reading more interesting. Okay? So can you think about the last time you learned something new? Which helped you more? Reading a long paragraph or looking at a simple picture? So most of us understand ideas faster when we see them, right? So for today, we'll begin discovering why visuals make learning easier and how they work together with text. So what is visual? So what is visual elements, Wendy? So visual elements are the tools that writers make information clearer. So imagine reading the parts of a volcano without seeing a diagram. So like it's a pure um writings lang jud about the volcano without like naa siya label. So it would be confusing, right? So mas prefer jud ta nga ang volcano na ay label. Bahala na dira og naatay nakita dira ng mga gipang suwat sa writers, at least there are also the label of its part para mas dali masabtan. When a diagram labels each part, we will understand clearly. Correct? So, visual will help break down complicated information into something our eyes and brain can process quickly. So, that is why authors include them in textbooks, magazines, posters, and even online articles. So, why are visuals important, Manjud? Nganong importante manjud ang visual? So visuals are important because they don't just decorate a page, but they also communicate to the audience or the reader. So a chart can summarize the entire page of information in one image. So a photograph can show us the reality of the text, and a diagram can explain a process step by step. So today, I want you to notice how visual help your or our brain remember and understand ideas more clearly than the text alone. Okay, so I have here an example, two types of example, the text only description and the visual explanation diagram. So let's compare how information is conveyed through a detailed text description versus a clear diagram when explaining the process of a plant growth. So we have here in the other box or the other side, we have here the text only description about the growth of the plant, while the other side is the visual explanation or the diagram itself. So look at carefully or carefully at these two examples. One is just merely a text, and the other is a diagram. So if you only read the text, you need to imagine everything in your mind. But when we see the diagram, the information becomes organized and easy to follow. So, this is why writers use visuals. So, they give our brain a shortcut to understanding. So, mauna siya ang visuals. And yung anak importante ang visual when we're going to write our own mga writings pohon. So dapat jud nga naay visual, or we need to include visual, just like what I instructed you when you're creating your own short story, diba? I told you to write or to add a visuals. If you remember na daghan kaayo ko gipang suggest dito na mga um, images or visuals sa katong inyuhang short story, it is because ang visual man good makahelp og picture out sa mga readers kung naunsa na ang story. Okay? So let's now move on to the victors and viewpoints in visual text. So unsa din ni si victor and viewpoints in visual text? Nganong naa naman sa ni siya? So actually, victors and viewpoints are the two techniques that will help us guide our eyes and shape what you feel about an image. So you may not notice at first, but visuals are designed carefully so our eyes move in a certain direction or see things from a certain angle. So by learning this, we will understand visuals like a real analyst. Okay, so what are vectors? So let's start with what are vectors. Usa man din ni ang vectors. Ngano naman na dira si diagrams, naa si graphs, naa si steps, naa ang cycles. Unsa man jud di ay si vector? Ngalan or unsa? So si vectors are line or arrows that help our eyes move across an image. So they act like invisible paths, leading us from one part to another part. So for example, in a life cycle diagram, so the arrows will guide us through the stages in the correct order. So in order, um, example ka na, if naka-try na mo og buhat o kana mga life cycle, 'di ba? You notice na like sa water cycle maguna jud na dira ni nay arrow dayon kung unsay sunod, and so on and so forth. So without victors, we wouldn't know where to start or what comes next. So victors help organize information so we don't get confused. So ing ana di ay ka importante si Victor, no? So si Victor mao jud nay mag-help nato na ma-organize ang information clearly. Nya unsa man po ni si viewpoint? Ngano na man po ni si viewpoint? Unsa di klahian na nilang duha? So si viewpoint refers to where the viewer seems to be standing when looking at an image. So kung si Victor mo-organize sa ato ang information, si viewpoint di ay maoy mo murag kamera nga maoy mag-angle nato. O, di ba? So, think of it like choosing a camera angle. Oh, hilig man jud tag selfie. Oh, 'di ba? So, mao na siya. Mura si viewpoint para nagkita nga asa man ang nice nga angle. Diri di ay kay nice. O, 'di ba? Ang ana si viewpoint. So, a high angle shot makes something look small or weak, while a low angle shot makes something look larger or powerful. So, artists and photographers don't choose angles randomly, so they want us to feel something. So today, ma-learn na to kung unsa jud or how those choices affect on how we interpret an image. So I have here two examples. The drawn view, which is the high angle, and the ground view, which is the low angle. So unsa man pud ni sila, unsa may kalahian na lang duha. So, these two are both mountains. Good, di ba? Two pictures of a mountains that show the same object, but they communicate different feelings. So, from above, the mountains look small and far away. So, tanaw na to siya, mo siya gamay. Unya, layo. And mo siya gentle kay tanan, di ba? So, from below, it looks tall, grand and impressive. So samtang hinoon nga naa siya sa ubos nga kuan kaning ground view, taas nun siya tan-awon. Unya, nindot, impressive kayo, di ba? Kaysa kaning drone view, mas ma-appreciate nimo ang kuan. Ang sa ground view kay nice og angle o tsada siya no lahi ra sa drone view. Gagmay kay siya lantawon. No. So mao na siya ang kalahian. So again, Victor is or Victor will help us organize our information clearly. While viewpoint is mo siya ang mag-choose na tuog angle. No? So, mao na ang kalahian sa duha. So, today, sige na lang tag today. So, let's now move on to technical editing for visual clarity. So, unsa man pud ni siya? Nganong naampun ni siya? Unsa naman gyud ni? O, di ba? So, mag-wonder na sad ta. So, actually, technical editing means checking visual to make sure they're correct, clear, and so again, technical editing means checking visuals to make sure they are correct, clear, and helpful. So technical editing is important because a single mistake in diagram or chart can cause misunderstanding or misinterpretation in our writing. So the editors must ensure all visuals match the text and present accurate information. So what is technical editing, Manjud? So technical editing includes checking spelling, labels, captions, clarity, and accuracy. So for example, if a bar graph says temperature in 2022 but shows numbers from 2020, so the information become misleading. So di ba like so kuhay kayo kay ang atong gititle dira kay temperature in 2022 tas ayang content pag 2020 pa. So di ba makakos nun siya og misinformation or misleading information. So technical editing ensures that in visuals are trustworthy, organized, and helpful to the readers. Dili nun kay mao na noon siya makakos og misinterpretation or misinformation. So it is really important to have technical editing before publishing your writing. So here are examples of technical errors. So visual errors may seem small. Tinuod man, mura siya gamay. Gamay ra ka na siya makaingon ta nga. Ay sus, gamay ra man kaayo na nga problema nga gidako pa man na ni ma'am. Uy, ay sus, gamay ra man kinangakuan, kinanglan pa jud usbon. Yes, guys, need jud na siya usbon kay it will cause readers confusion, misleading information, and bati na hinuon siya paminawon. So visual errors again may seem small, but they can create confusion or they can confuse readers and ruin the text credibility. So imagine learning about animals and seeing a tiger labeled as lion. O diba? Si Mang kayo, ang atong ibutang dira, tiger, picture sa tiger, pero atong gilibelan og lion. O, unsa may manuna sa atong reader? Di ba makaingon atong reader? Uy, naunsa man ni siya, oy ga. Wala siya kailaan ni nga animals. O di ba, ma-confuse ang reader as well as makakos na noon siya og dili na ta saligan sa reader. Mao na nang reader nga, ay di na ta mabasa na, ay dagan kay na siya misleading information. O di ba? So mawala na noon ang trustworthy sa isa ka reader nimo. So possible na noon nga kanang mo inganyo siya sa iyang mga friends nga uy ayaw pag basa ana nga author or writer kay kanang bati kay na siya muda og construct sa iyang mga gipang write like kanang bati kaayo ana. So mo na siya nga dapat jud nga ensure na to nga good technical editing prevents error before they are going to publish. So dapat i-ensure dyan na nato nga sakto na ang tanan. Wala na technical errors. So I have here technical editing checklist. So this checklist will help us evaluate whether a visual is effective. So we can use it when checking posters, diagrams, or even our own projects. Mao bitaw katong napabuhat pa ko sa inyong short story. Ako jud gipa-ensure or ako jud gipang bantayan even comma or period lang nga na missing diha to ensure na ang inyong short story is accurate and nindot paminawon na walay mga misleading or mga misinformation or mga kanang putol nga mga kuan like the punctuation marks itself, the kanang mga spelling, mga nakulangan lang ng mga technical errors. So dapat jud nga mao bitaw to nga before ta mo gipabuhat sa short story I have told you na dapat na ay mo edit, na ay mo proofread kay para to ensure nga si writer dili ra siya mo naglihok kay si writer man gud kung kita alone is the writer and the editor and the proofreader kanang ma-kuan jud ta ma-miss mawala na jud na sa tong utok kay kanang na mura naman tag naingganyo or na immune sa atong gisuwat. So dili na nato makaligtaan na nato atong gipang suwat diha. So that is the very important thing na when we are going to write, naa jud tay proofreader og naa jud tay editor. Kay para sila mismo ang mo correct sa imuhang mga mistakes. So if a visual is wrong, confusing, or unclear, the text loses quality. So editors must ensure everything is precise. Okay, so again, technical errors is very important. It is because it will help us or it will avoid confusions to the reader. Okay, so now let's move on to the animations in informational text. So animations are powerful because they will show us how something or they will show how something changes over time. So which static images cannot fully explain. So many lessons, educational videos, or science simulations use animation to help students learn faster and deeper. So what are animations man gyud di ay? Unsa man is animations? Do you have any idea what is or what are animations? Okay, so animations are more than entertainment. They are educational tools. So for example, watching the heart pumps the blood in motion helps us understand the process better than the picture. So, mo bitaw na nausahay na ay animation akong PowerPoint pero karon wala lang sa ha. Kay para makuha ninyo kay nag-video raman ta. Pero during online classes, na dyan na animation sa akong PowerPoint kay it will help you man good nga makita first kung unsa ang title, just like what are animations, and then the content, and then the examples. Mo na jud ko animations kay it will help us man good picture or process better kaysa sa picture alone or sa slide alone lang siya. So animations can simplify difficult concepts, highlight steps, and make invisible process visible. Okay? So why use animation? Ngano mo gamit man tag animation? Why do animations help us learn? Ngano man? Unsa man jud niya siya? Ngano ma-learn or ngano ang animation maka-help man nga maka-learn ta? So it is because they show actions, patterns, and sequences. So when something changes over time, like planets orbiting the sun or a volcano erupting, a moving visuals give us a more accurate understanding. So today, explore nato how animation improves our comprehension. So I have here an example. The static image and animation and the animation of the Earth rotating. So actually, di siya mo-play diri sa akong slide. Ang Earth rotating around the Sun. So di siya mo-move dira kay ah, nag-use namang taog kanang unsa ni siya slides. So look at these two visuals. The static one, they show the Earth in one position only, but the animation shows how it spins around the sun. So the movements reveals relationships and changes that are hard to express with just text or still pictures. So that is why animations are important in digital informational text. Okay? So, unsa man jud ay? Nganong naaman jud ni si Victor, na si viewpoint, na si technical editing, na si animation, and naapod ang visual elements. Nganong naaman ni silang tanan? It is because it will help us in applying visual elements to our own informational text. So let's going to review or recap what we've studied regarding visual elements in information text. So again, visual elements includes or are the images, diagrams or graphics that help us readers understand information in a text. So how about Victor? Unsa man ni si Victor or nga. So before ta mo move on ni Victor, ano importante man si visual? Ano importante siya? It is because again, they just not only use as decorations sa atong page, but they also communicate us through our visual senses or visual elements. So kani si Victor. Si Victor kay nakabutang dira guide the viewer's eyes across an image. So unsa ganito si Victor? Si Victor kay they are the lines, arrows that will help us move our eyes across an image, while viewpoint is the angle or position nga atong makita para ma-perceive ang atong hunaan or makita sa picture. Okay, so technical editing is to check visuals for accuracies in labels, captions, spelling, image, clarity, and data. So technical editing again is very important. It is because it will help us avoid misleading information and chaos in reading your story. So animations is also the use of moving images, graphics, or interactive elements to explain ideas and processes. So nganong importante man nga naa ni silang upat again, it is because it will help us in applying our own informational text. So since I've already tackled everything here, we have a student's test or activity. So here, you need to create your own visual informational text. So we have here three. So a title and short informational paragraph, at least two visual elements that includes arrows, diagrams, viewpoints, images, icons, and etc. So third, apply technical editing, correct labels, accuracy, and clarity. So in this task, you don't need to make an animation. Just design a concept for one. Describe what will move, when it will move, and how the movement helps explain your topic. So again, in this task, you don't need to make animation. Just design a concept for one. Describe what will move, when it will move, and how that movement help explains your topic. This will help you think like a digital content creator using animation to educate. Okay, so let's now have reflection. Diba? Mag-reflection ta. Okay. Again, by the way, for your activity, you need to only choose any topic. So, social science, social studies, or even health. Then write a short paragraph and add visuals that will support your explanation. Then make sure your visuals are not random decorations. They must help you or the reader learn something. Then afterward, check your work using technical editing checklist. Katong akong gi-flash earlier. Okay? So I want you to think deeply about which visual element help you the most today. So your answer will help you discover what kind of learner you are, visual, logical, or mix of both. So this reflection also helps you become a better creator of informational text. So that would be all for today. Goodbye and thank you.